Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Waharakah, Kwadash. And double honors to the apostles of the great millstone that have taught me what I know, and including the bishops on down. And as well as I say, Yahweh Bashmel Shai Brakatham to the 144,000, and including the 1/3 that do follow. And it's your brother Laban. Once again, and just giving my take on this news in regards to NATO, that they plan to get U.S. troops to the front line to fight Russia. Alliance prepares for rapid deployment of American soldiers amid fears Moscow is plotting major war with Europe. NATO leaders previously agreed to ready 300,000 troops for rapid deployment. So as this reads, NATO is drawing up plans to send American troops to the front lines of Europe in the event of an all-out conflict with Russia. It has been revealed. New land corridors are being carved out to quickly funnel soldiers through Central Europe without local bureaucratic impediments, allowing NATO forces to pounce in an instant should Putin's devastating war in Ukraine move further west. The plans are said to include contingencies in case of Russian bombardment, letting troops sweep into the Balkans via corridor in Italy, Greece, and Turkey, or towards Russia's northern border via Scandinavia, officials told the Telegraph. Now, going back to the interview that Vladimir Putin had with this guy, Tucker Carlson, I remember he said that he wouldn't invade the Balkan area because there's no interest. There's no reason for him to invade in those areas because he doesn't share any interest to those countries over there. So, what NATO has been doing, NATO has been continuing pressuring the bear, have you will. And, if this ain't provoking, I don't know what is. But anyway, what this reminds me of, as soon as I saw this, it reminded me of Obadiah 1, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. This is Obadiah 1 in verse 7. So this reads, all of the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee, and they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee, and there is none understanding in them. So all of the men of thy confederacy. So what we got to understand is that, of course, all of these politicians are men of these various nations. Now, all of the men of the Confederacy of America since 1949, dealing with the original 12 here, just for the sake of memory, because I don't remember all of them, so just to get it right, I have it on deck right here. So as it reads, the 12 founding members of the alliance were Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and Norway, Portugal, the UK, and there it is. So, as this article says, that they're in fear that Russia may bombard these areas, which that's not going to be the case because, again, the Russians don't share any interest in these countries. They're just making an excuse to provoke the bear for war. All right. But again, NATO, which is the confederacy between America and as well as the European countries, which I just named the 12 of them, they want to put America on the front lines, which again, let me read this. All of the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. Right? The border. Because the thing with NATO, Europe can't face Russia by themselves. The only country that can face Russia face to face right along with their allies is America in this case. All right, which that's really the the beef that Russia has anyway is with America. And really when you look at it, the original beef that Russia has is with America, not really with NATO. Is the main nation that the Russians have with the real beef that the Russians have with it is with America. It's not with NATO anyway, right? So if NATO is going to put American soldiers, 300,000 strong troops on the border in this region, that's going to then provoke war right there and there. All right, as this has been revealed. So, that's why I had to jump right on this, man, because basically it's all caving in, isn't it? The end of the world, the end of this civilization, everything that we've said from start to finish in regards to this truth, now it's starting to actually be seen. And it's going to get to the point where you're going to have Jacob's trouble being played out. And when that time is at bay, we're not going to be saying anything right now. Excuse me. We're not going to be saying anything in that time. In that time, we're not going to be saying a word because the prophecies are going to be doing the speaking in that time. All right. And so there you have it. So all of these nations are being readied and prepared for the third woe, which is coming quickly. All right. So these are the nations that were confederate, that are confederate, not were, but are confederate with the so-called United States. As you have NATO, which stands for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and that's what the word confederate means. It means to make a covenant with, or to make a treaty with. From the Hebrew word barayaf, exactly. See, treaty, alliance, league, man-to-man, constitution, ordinance. So there it is, agreement, pledge. So they agreed that they're going to work together against third parties, or in the case since the time that was, the reason why they all came together is to combat the power of the Soviet Union after the Second World War. So these same nations that's in league with America is going to betray it by bringing it to the border. And this is what this looks like to me personally. All right. So it's very clear what's going on, man. It's very, very clear that prophecy is speaking. What we've been saying at the Great Millstone, beginning with the head apostles and the bishops on down, and then the brothers on down, all of us put together, we've been saying things, and now it's happening. All of this stuff is now coming into fruition. All of the prophecies that we've been speaking about is falling into fruition now. Tensions have ratcheted up in recent weeks with Russian President Vladimir Putin openly acknowledging the possibility of a full-scale Third World War as he threatens fatal consequences for Western allies, allowing Ukraine use of their weapons on Russian soil. So maybe this is just the Daily Mail talking, right? Adding more, fuel to the narrative, right? But the thing of it is, because see, you got to watch what the Western media is saying in regards to, what's going on actually, because there's some lies in this, which, hold on, wait there. Yeah, so continue on to read over here. Tensions have ratcheted up in recent weeks with Russian President Vladimir Putin openly and acknowledging the possibility of a full-scale Third World War as he threatens fatal consequences for Western allies, allowing Ukraine use of their weapons on Russian soil. So there you go. Now, I remember years ago, they were trying to formulate peace treaties here and there, and now, as we fast forward from them times, now we're at the precipice of the third woe, which is coming quickly. And this is just goes to show and prove that the counsel of the Lord is going to be fulfilled. Because even though they had in mind that they wanted to prevent this scenario from happening, but they're bringing it forward. Why? Because it's the will of the Lord to fulfill prophecy. So they that were confederate against thee have brought thee even to the border and have laid a wound in thee. And what is going to be that wound? That wound is going to be the Russians doing what they got to do against their real enemy at large. And I'm talking about America in this case, right? They have laid a wound unto thee, and there is none understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, which are the Temanites, the so-called Germans, and the understanding out of the mount of Esau, and thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. And also you gotta consider that even the Russians, they're gonna be destroyed in this as well, because they're Eastern. And also as well as you also gotta consider too that even the Russians are gonna be destroyed in this as well, because they're also Edomites that the Bible speaks about too. All right, but they're gonna have the upper hand in this, and as well as the allies of America will turn against it, pursuant to the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter. So what we see here, the way that this is looking, it's looking like NATO, or not NATO, but the EU in this case, is setting up America for the great fall, which will be had and seen as what's written in Bible prophecy. So now let's even read the book of Ezekiel 38 and verse. Let's begin by reading verse 1. And the words, Salakia, and the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog in the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, which is Russia, which Russia means the head, from the Hebrew word Rasha, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor. And Meshech and Tubal are, if I'm correct, the sons of Japhet, because this is the area where Japhet were located at originally, all in the interiors of Europe first. When you read the Table of Nations, Genesis chapter 10, if I'm correct, it mentions all of the lands that the Lord have blessed the nations with. All right, so yeah, let me just go and see. Yeah, I'm correct. One of the sons of Japhet, the grandsons of Japhet and Tubal as well. And I will turn thee back, and I will put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even the great company, and buckler and shields, and all of them handling swords. So all of these allies of Russia are gonna be on the ready, and as well as even those that are outside of Russia. You have here Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, and with them, all of them with shield and helmet. And this is why throughout the years, even since the Obama administration and ever since David Cameron was in office down here in the UK, Russia has been supplying S-3 and S-400 weapons to these countries. Okay? Gomer and all his bands, and the house of Togarmah, which is Turkey, which Turkey is no longer going to be the middleman anymore, but rather switch sides to the Russians, of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them, and as well as he's in league with China as well. So all of these nations, he's been helping them, supplying them with weaponry throughout the years, and that's how he's been a guard unto them. And after many days, now this is the point now, Ezekiel 38 and verse 8. This is not the point. The point is in verse 10. The point is in verse 11. After many days thou shalt be visited, In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, which is the land of Israel, and is gathered out of many people. Because many nations do dwell around that land. You have the so-called Palestinians. You have those JOOs over there, them small hats over there, them Amalekites there. Okay, and also you have those Philistines over there too. That's claiming to be the real Jews of the Bible, when in fact they're not. Against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely in all of them. So the land of Israel is going to be, this is basically saying that after the destruction of that land, the land is going to be redeemed. Israel is going to dwell safely in the land. Now, as I could quite recall, Al-Azhar was breaking this down totally incorrect when he mentioned that we're going to be the land of Israel by the time the Russians invade the land of Israel. That's totally incorrect, because according to the book of Isaiah chapter 2, and according to the book of Isaiah the 60th chapter, and also according to this one over here, Ezekiel 34 and verse 25, when we're in the land, we're in the Holy Land again, Ezekiel 34 speaks about a covenant of peace. So again, just as I've quoted, I'm gonna try to remember the scriptures that I quoted. Isaiah chapter 2 tells you that when the real people get into the land of Israel, just roughly paraphrasing, when the Israelites get back to the land of Israel, the real Israelites, should I say, when the real Israelites get back into the land of the Holy Land, then the nations are not going to learn war anymore. So there's going to be peace. Another scripture, Isaiah 60, and if I'm correct, is in verse 14, or probably another verse onwards, where it mentions that violence will no longer be heard in thy dwellings. So you got that scripture, and then you have this scripture over here, the peace covenant, the covenant of peace. All right, and in this chapter over here, it mentions that in Ezekiel 34 and verse 27, and the tree of the field shall yield her fruit, and the earth shall yield her increase, and they shall be safe in their land, and shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh, when I have broken the bands of their yoke, and delivered them out of the hand of those that have served themselves of them. So when we are delivered out from the nations back to the Holy Land, then there's going to be peace. There's going to be peace. So this is just basically speaking about the Russians invading the land of Israel, the land that which we're going to be in peace in. Okay, that's what it's talking about. So now, Ezekiel 38 and verse 11, which is the point, which is going to drive me to Jeremiah 50. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. So the land of unwalled villages, in this case, is referring to America, because America has spread its military power thin worldwide. There's between 400 plus to almost pushing 1,000 military bases worldwide that America has in station, when in fact what should have been is that most of the military power should have been in-house. And then they don't even have an Iron Dome, which Trump said he was going to do, just like how the state of Israel has. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, and all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. And if you've lived in America, of course, you listen, you ain't going through no severely stressful conditions like the people in the East are going through. All right, everything's peaceful, everything's cool. You get to do what you want without no worries. You don't have to go outside worrying about if a pocket bomb is going to be near and dear to you, or having to see the sight of missiles flying around you and destroying different areas. You ain't got to worry about that. So the people in America are dwelling safely, but they have no defense. So this is where Russia's going to come in and invade as well. Russia's also going to come and invade America as well in this third war, which is coming quickly. And that's what this is going to lead to. If NATO decides to want to get the U.S. involved near the border where Russia's at, that's what it's going to basically lead up to. That scenario is going to be had and seen in the eyes of the American people. And primarily beginning with the military, of course. They're going to be the first ones to witness this and to be on alert. Okay? So now let's even read this. For lo, I will raise a cause to come up against Babylon, an assembly of great nations from the north country, as we just read in Ezekiel 38 and verse and verse 6, right? Gomer and all of his bands. And they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken, and their arrow shall be as of a mighty expert man, and none shall return in vain. That's in the book of Joel, the 2nd chapter. Let's even read that. Joel. Now this is the point, verse 7, Salakia. They shall run like mighty men, and they shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march every one on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. This is further into the point. Neither shall one thrust another, and they shall walk every one in his path, and when they shall fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded, and the sword is America in this case. So there it is. So these missiles are not going to be faulty, and they're going. Just to connect with what Jeremiah and 50 is saying. And verse 9, as this reads, their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man, and none shall return in vain. And the Chaldea shall be a spoil, and all that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith the Lord. So these nations, they're going to be enjoying destroying Babylon, which is known as America today. Because ye were glad, because ye rejoice, O ye destroyers of mine heritage, which America did destroy the children of Israel, which is the Lord's heritage, because ye are grown fat, and as the heifer at grass and bellows as bulls. And I mean, as you can hear by the sound of my voice, I used to live there. I was born, raised there, and came to the UK backwards and forwards, But yeah, one thing that I can quite remember is that the roads, even the food, every single thing is basically abundant in America. And I mean, even the food is fat. It's a large place, and certain things are large in it. Your mother shall be sore confounded, which is Great Britain, which is representing the eighth, which go over into perdition, which came out of the seventh, according to the book of Revelations. She that bare you shall be ashamed, and behold, the hindermost of the nation shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert, which is America. Again, the word hindermost just means the end of something. Everything begins on the right hand side and ends on the left hand side. See, we were taught that everything begins on the left to the right, but that's not the case. So that's what it means. America is basically the end of the planet Earth. So that is the place which will be turned into a desert completely. Because of the wrath of the Lord, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate, which is mentioned in the Isaiah 34 and Isaiah 13. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. Put yourself in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her and spare no arrows, for she have sinned against the Lord Yahweh. So again, that's what all of this is leading up to. It's all going to lead up to the allies of Russia to pose against America in this war, shooting missiles. It's going to get to a nuclear war. Beginning with Obadiah 1, all of the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. NATO plans to get U.S. troops to the front line to fight Russia. So that's it. That's just how I'm seeing this right here. So with that, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Waharakah, Kodash, and double honors to the apostles of the great millstone and the bishops that taught us this truth. And Yahweh Bashem Shah Brakatham to the elect, whom is 144,000, and to those that is sincerely following, whom is the 1/3. Shalom.